Chapter 2 Pretest. Question number 1. Solve linear equations and inequalities. First one we have 21 plus x equals 4x. So first step, I would like to subtract x to both sides so that I keep the number to one side and the variables to one side. So 21 plus x minus x, I'm left with 21. 4x minus x, I have 3x. Following step, divide both sides by 3 to get down to x by itself. So we have x equals 7. Number 2, 5 over 4 times x plus 8 equals 12. So I'm going to undo whatever done to the x. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4/5. 4 and 4 get reduced, 5 and 5 get reduced. So to the left hand side I have x plus 8. To the right hand side I have 48 divided by 5. Then I'm going to go ahead and subtract 8 to both sides. So I have x equals 5 at the denominator, 48 minus 40, converting the 8 into improper form, which is 40 over 5. So the final answer should be 8 over 5 for the x. Number 3, 16 minus 10x equals 21 minus 2x. I like to work with positive numbers, so I'm going to go ahead and add 10x to both sides. Then I'm going to subtract 21 to both sides. So 16 minus 21, I have negative 5. Negative 2x plus 10x, I have 8x. Divide both sides by 8. So my x equals negative 5/8. Number 4, 2 times 3x plus 6 minus 4 times 6 minus 2 equals 24. So I'm going to use the distributive property to distribute the coefficient in front of each parenthesis. So 2 times 3, I have 6x plus 12 minus 4x. So negative 4 times negative 2, that's positive 8. Combine like terms if I have any. So I see that 6x minus 4x, I'm left with 2x plus 12 plus 8. So that's positive 20 plus 20 equals 24. Subtract both sides by 20. 2x equals positive 4. Divide both sides by 2. So my x equals positive 2. Number 5. Solve and graph. For the inequalities, 36 greater or equal than negative 9 plus 3x. So first step, I'm adding 9 to both sides. 45 greater or equal than 3x. Divide both sides by 3. I have 15 greater or equal than x. Or you can read it as x less or equal than 15. So any number less or equal than 15 should be my solution. So on the 15, I should make it circle, shaded, dark, filled. So make sure you fill the circle, shade, darken it to mark that the 15 is also part of the solutions. Number 6, 1 minus 3x less than 19. Subtract 1 to both sides. I have negative 3x less than 18. Divide both sides by negative 3. This time, I would like to remind you, you would have to make sure that as you divide both sides by a negative number, make sure you flip the sign. X greater than negative 6. So our solution is going to be any number greater than negative 6. So any numbers point towards right of negative 6, but does not include negative 6. Number 7, 2 times 6 plus 3x less or equal than 4 times 2x minus 5. So first thing, I would like to distribute the 2 to 6, 2 to 3x, 4 to 2x, 4 to negative 5. We have 12 plus 6x less or equal than 8x minus 20. subtract 6x to both sides, then add 20 to both sides. 32 less or equal than 2x, divide both sides by 2 to arrive at x is greater or equal than 16, or 16 is less or equal than x. So any number greater than 16 should be our solution. So you should shaded your endpoint 16. Any number to the right of 16 should be the part of the solutions. Number 8, 7x minus 2 times 5x plus 3 greater or equal than 12. First, by distributing the negative 2 to the parentheses. So we have 7x minus 10x minus 6 greater or equal than 12. Combine like terms, 7x with negative 10x. So we have negative 3x minus 6 greater or equal than 12. Plus 6 to both sides. Negative 3x is greater or equal than 18. Divide both sides by negative 3. So again, once again, when you divide by a negative number, make sure you flip the sign. So now your x is less or equal than negative 6. Solution would be for any number less or equal than negative 6, point to the left-hand side. Number 9. Write out the inequality first. With the given information, Joe already has $42, and then for each loan he mowed, he will get $20. So the inequality that I write is 42 plus 20x must be greater or equal than 282 in order for him to buy the bike. Subtract 42 to both sides, we have 20x greater or equal than 240. Divide by 20 to both sides, we have x greater or equal than 12. So that means Joe will need to mow more than or equal to 12 lawns. Question number 10. Proportional reasonings. X over 6 equals 9 over 2. So I'm using the cross multiplications. Multiply numbers across the equal sign. I have 2x equals 6 times 9. So my x divide both sides by 2. X equals 6 times 9 divided by 2, which is 54 divided by 2. We have x equal to 27. Number 11. 4 over 6 equals 2x over 9. So again, using the cross multiplication, I have 2x times 6 equals 4 times 9. X equals 3. Question number 12. 4.8 over negative x equals 3.2 over 3. Again, do your cross multiplication. We have negative x times 3.2 equals 4.8 times 3. X equals negative 4.5. Number 13. 2 over 3 equals 3 over 2x minus 2. Multiply with cross multiplication. 2 times 2x minus 2 equals 3 times 3. Distribute the 2. So I have 4x minus 4 equals 9. X equals 13 over 4. Number 14. A tree casts a 24-foot shadow at the same time that a 12-foot pole casts a 6-foot shadow. How tall is the tree? So I'm giving myself a graph. I don't know the height of the tree, so I mark it as a question mark. It casts a shadow of 24 feet. The pole is 12 feet high with a shadow of 6 feet. So how I set up the equation? X over 12. So height over height equals shadow over shadow, which is 24 over 6. Solve for the x. X equals 48 feet. Question number 15. Find the intercept and graph each line. 5x plus 4y equals 20. How do I find the x-intercept? I need to plug it in y equals 0. 5x plus 4 times 0 equals 20. X equals 4. So the x-intercept is going to be 4, 0. How do I find the y-intercept? By plugging in x equals 0. 5 times 0 plus 4y equals 20. So my y is going to be 5. 0, 5 is the y-intercept point. On your graph, mark down 4, 0 for the x-intercept. 0, 5 for the y-intercept. With 2 points, you can uniquely define the line. Number 16. 6x minus 2y equals negative 18. X-intercept is negative 3, 0. Y-intercept is 0, 9. Number 17. Y minus 6x equals 12. Writing in slope-intercept form, it is y equals 6x plus 12. Number 18. 4x minus 12 minus 6y equals 0. In slope-intercept form, y equals 2/3 of x minus 2. Number 19. Write the linear functions. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for each line. Number 19. Y equals 4x minus 1. Number 20. Y equals 1/3 of x minus 6. Number 21. Y equals 5/3 of x plus 9. Number 22. Y equals 3/4 of x plus 2. Question number 23. Solve for y in each quantity, then graph. 23. Y minus 4 less or equal than negative 2 plus 4 to both sides. I find y less or equal than positive 2. So then I find the y-intercept point, y equals to 2. This would be a horizontal line parallel to the x-axis. Anything less or equal than, so anything less or equal than would be shaded down below the line, as in red. Number 24, 7x minus 4y greater than 10x plus 8. Subtract 7x to both sides. I have negative 4y greater than 3x plus 8. Divide both sides by negative 4. Again, when you divide by a negative number, make sure you flip the sign. Y less than negative 3/4 of x minus 2. So this time, we do not have the equal sign, so our borderline would have to be in dashed lines. Anything less than, so again, anything less than is shaded in color red. Question 2-6, transforming linear equations. Number 1, f of x equals 3x, vertical translation 3 units down. So g of x equals 3x minus 3. Number 2, f of x equals 4x, vertical stretch by a factor of 4. G of x equals, so 4 times 4x equals 16x. Number 3, horizontal compression 1/4. So I multiply the x by 4, 4x plus 2, so that's the first step, followed by horizontal left 8 units. So I have to move everything for the x left by 8 units. So x minus negative 8. 4 times x plus 8 plus 2. So the final equation should be 4x plus 34. Number 4. So first horizontal right 6 units. So 2 times x minus 6 minus 4 to arrive at 2x minus 16. Second, compress by 1/3. So again, I multiply the x by 3. So 3 times 2x minus 16. So the final result should be 6x minus 16. Here's a video recording about how to use your TI calculator to help you graph the best line of fit. Yesterday we have the pretest discussion on 2-7 curve fitting with linear models. A student has kept track of the relative humidity and the apparent room temperature. The results are shown in the table below. So you have the relative humidity on the left hand side, you have the apparent room temperature to the right hand side. So I'm going to turn over to the calculator and turn it on. So first thing, you want to enter the given information to the list. Here you will have to press on the STAT, the bottom on your calculator to press would be the STAT. Once you do that, you'll pull up to this menu with 3 options: edit, calculate, and tests. First, we want to edit our list. So keep on enter, enter. So your L1, list L1 would be for the list on your left hand side. So go ahead and punch it in these numbers: 0, 10, 20. When you're finished with the list 1, use your arrow key to scroll to list 2. So now enter the apparent room temperature for list 2. So we have entered the two lists for our information. Next, I would like to pull up the functions to calculate the baseline of heat. In order for you to do so, let's go back to the home screen. To go back to the home screen, press on Second Mode. So you're actually using the Quit application here. So the function for the baseline of heat would be underneath. Press on STAT again. This time we're going to scroll over to Calculate. Once you are at this menu, you will see number 4 is the function that we are going to pull out. Linear regressions. So it's given to you in the form of ax plus b. You will be given the parameter value of a, the parameter value of b. So let's go ahead and select number 4. And since our lists are default to L1, L2, all you have to do at this point is just go ahead and press Enter. And it will calculate the baseline of heat again. A stands for the slope, B stands for the y-intercept point. But how about the standard deviation information that you are asked to look for, R? It doesn't look like we have the information at this point. So how do I pull out that? You can go ahead and press on Second 0, which will pull up the information of all the built-in functions. And this time we're going to turn on the diagnostic. So go ahead and press on Alpha D. Alpha D. It will quickly bring you to the letters starting with D. This time I only have to scroll down a few to find diagnostic on functions. Diagnostic on functions. So go ahead and press that Enter. And Enter again so that the calculator knows you need to have the diagnostic function on. So again, let's press on STAT, scroll to Calculate, press on number 4, and press Enter again. There, you will have the standard deviation calculated for you for all these 11 datas. (2-7C) Use your equation to predict the parent room temperature at a relative humidity of 45%. So I'm going to plug it in x equals 45 into the equations that you calculate using your TI calculator. Y equals 0.1209 times 45 plus 64.4091. You will get a number y equals 69.8496, which is approximately close to 70 degree Fahrenheit. Question number 6. The absolute value of 10 minus 5x equals 30. So for the absolute value functions, we're looking for the distance. So 10 minus 5x equals 30, or 10 minus 5x equals negative 30. So you have to consider both the positive and negative cases. If you have 10 minus 5x equals 30, your x is going to end up x equals negative 4. For the case of 10 minus 5x equals negative 30, your x is going to be positive 8. Number 7. 3 times the absolute value of x minus 6 equals 12. First, by adding 6 to both sides, we have 3 absolute value of x equals 18. Divide both sides by 3, the absolute value of x equals 6. So my x could be positive 6 or negative 6. Number 8. the absolute value of 8x minus 2 divided by negative 3 equals positive 9. So if you multiply both sides by negative 3, what do you see? The absolute value of 8x minus 2 equals a negative number. Since the absolute value function is looking for distance, it is not possible for you to have an absolute value functions coming out from the absolute value to end up with a negative number. So there's no possible x solutions, or basically you can say there's no solution for number 8. Number 9, 6x minus 3 in the absolute value functions equals x plus 2. So we have to consider two cases. 6x minus 3 equals x plus 2, or 6x minus 3 equals negative x plus 2. So for the first one, 6x minus 3 equals x plus 2. I subtract x to both sides, then add 3. So I end up with 5x equals 5, x equals 1. Second one, 6x minus 3 equals negative x plus 2. Distribute the negative, so I have 6x minus 3 equals negative x minus 2. 7x equals 1, so x equals 1/7. Be sure to plug your answers back into the equation to check your result. Number 10, the absolute value of 4x plus 8 greater than 16. So again, you have to consider both cases, 4x plus 8 greater than 16 or 4x plus 8 less than negative 16. For the positive, 4x greater than 8, x greater than 2. For the negative one, subtract 8 to both sides, I have 4x less than negative 24. Divide both sides by 4, I have x less than negative 6. So to graph it, any number greater than 2 is our solution. Any number less than negative 6 is our solutions. So on both ends. Question number 11. The absolute value of x minus 1 over 6 is less or equal than 3. So in order for me to take out the absolute value functions, one is x minus 1 over 6 less or equal than 3. Or x minus 1 over 6 greater or equal than negative 3. So first one, I multiply both sides by 6. I have x minus 1 less or equal than 18. X is going to be less or equal than 19. Second one, x minus 1 over 6 greater or equal than negative 3. Multiply by both sides by 6. I have x minus 1 greater or equal than negative 18. Add 1 to both sides. X is greater or equal than negative 17. So since we have the equal sign, make sure you fill your circle for the end points. So your x is going to be in between negative 17 and 19. So all the values in between negative 17 to positive 19 are valid solutions. You can definitely check. Use the 0. So 0 is a very obvious answer by plugging it back into the equations. Thus, 0 minus 1 over 6. Take the absolute value of that. Is it less or equal than 3? Is this statement true or false? It should be true because it's part of our solutions. So double check your solutions every time. Number 12. Negative 2 times the absolute value of 8x minus 5 minus 6 equals 12. So first, by adding 6 to both sides, I have negative 2 times the absolute value of x minus 5 equals 18. Divide both sides by negative 2. The absolute value of 8x minus 5 equals negative 9. So once again, it's not possible for you to have an x values as you plug it into the absolute value functions turns out to be a negative value. So basically at this point, I need not to go on. The answer is going to be no solution for this particular problem. Number 13, the absolute value of 6x minus 2 plus 4 less than 22. So first, by subtracting 4 to both sides, I have the absolute value of 6x minus 2 less than 18. Two cases to consider again, 6x minus 2 less than 18 or 6x minus 2 greater than negative 18. Solve for the x. So one case is x less than 10/3. The other case is x greater than negative 8/3. Graphing. So you are going to mark down on the endpoints negative 8/3 between negative 8/3 to 10/3. So any number in between should be the solutions, excluding the endpoint. So keep your endpoints as an open circle. Question number 14. The vertex point is going to be located at 0, -3, and then with a slope of 1, 1 on both sides, 1, positive 1. On the left-hand side, you have -1. So basically, you are moving everything down by 3 units. Number 15. The vertex point is going to be located at 4, 6. So moving right 4 units, up 6 units to locate your vertex point. Number 16, the vertex point is going to be shifting left 5 units, -5, 0. So the absolute value function is going to be g of x equals the absolute value of x plus 5. Number 17, according to the scenario, a cereal company fills every box with 48 ounces of cereals. The company allows each box of cereal to be within a tolerance of 0.5 ounces. What is an expression for the actual weight of the boxes? So what we need to do is put in the given information. X represents the weight of the cereals. So x minus 48, the absolute value would have to be in between 0.5 ounces.